Welcome back, wrestling fans. We are back with episode 19 of the Mount Rushmore Wrestling Podcast. We are back, literally, from WrestleMania weekend. We are still recovering, I think, gentlemen, for the most part. We're a couple of days just, not post-mortem, but post-mania. So we had a fantastic time. We're going to really dive into it, but we're going to do night one in this episode, and we'll save night two for the next episode. We also have unfortunate news that we have to talk about, some bad news along with how good WrestleMania was. I think we all know what's been happening the past couple of days and what happened on Monday Night Raw. So we're definitely going to have to, unfortunately, dive into that and talk about what the outlook looks like for moving forward with the WWE products. So we're also recording on Wednesday, so AEW is going to be going on probably in the background as we kind of see things. And we'll talk about that potentially after our Night 2 video tomorrow. So, how are we feeling, guys? How are we feeling post-Mania? I know it seems like we're dragging a little bit, but I feel fantastic. It was what an amazing show. Both nights and just the weekend in general. But how are you guys doing?
Good. I mean, it was an incredible trip. It was trip. 2 nights of WrestleMania that were fantastic, as we'll get into that. You know, we went to WrestleCon, met a few superstars there. We went to a WrestleCon after party. That was pretty cool. Got to tour LA. It's not what I expected it to be, as LA is one of the places on my bucket list. I thought it could have been a little bit better, but, I'm feeling good. It was a dump, yeah, A lot of homeless people, that's for sure.
Oh, God. True.
Yeah, it was everything I expected to be as far as WrestleMania. Excellent quality matches we experienced. Got to meet some of our favorite superstars. Got to go on the Hollywood tour. Chris mentioned it. LA, cool scenery, but it's also a dump.
I got shaken down for some money for some CDs. And we had a lot of fun Uber rides, and the Uber drivers were quite nice to us out there. They let us get the lowdown of how shitty Los Angeles is, but for the most part, we had a fantastic time. Let's go to Chris for the On This Day, and then we will talk about, before we get into the WrestleMania Night 1 card, we are going to talk about the outlook for professional wrestling after what has been going on the past few days. So, Chris, take it away.
All right, on this day, as we're recording, it is April 5th, so we went back to April 5th, 2009. How fitting. WrestleMania 25. Nice. April 5th, 2009 was WrestleMania 25. Just to go through a few matches on the card, I'm not going to go through everything. One of my favorite matches on that card was Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy in the Extreme Rules match, in which Matt Hardy ended up winning. Very surprising that Matt Hardy went over on Jeff Hardy back then. But I'm pretty sure Jeff got his revenge at the next pay-per-view. We also had Rey Mysterio, who is a huge favorite right now in wrestling. He went over on JBL in 21 seconds to win the Intercontinental Championship. And right after that happened, JBL retired. He took a mic and he said he quit. The next match is the greatest WrestleMania match of all time between The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. That match was 30 minutes. That's a 40 to 45 old Undertaker and just as old Shawn Michaels putting on an absolute banger. And then the 2 championship matches, there was a triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. It was John Cena defeating Big Show and Edge. It was actually a pretty good story going into that match between Vicky Guerrero and Big Show, Vicky Guerrero and Edge. They kind of didn't really have their sights set on John Cena at the time, but he came in and won the world title. And then the main event was also another good story, but the match did not deliver. It was Triple H defeating Randy Orton. Randy Orton in 2009 was the Viper. He was bald. He was head kicking everybody. Vince, Shane. He RKO'd Stephanie and kissed her on the cheek. And then, Triple H actually retained the championship because people forget Randy Orton won the Royal Rumble that year. He wasn't the champ going in. Mm-hmm. So Triple H retained the title, and that was
one of my favorite storylines of all time, the Randy Orton Triple H WrestleMania 25. One of my all-time favorites, breaking into his house and everything.
But the match just didn't live up to the expectations that people had.
Yeah, the match wasn't for me either.
No,
definitely.
WrestleMania 25 as on the whole, I guess, wasn't that bad. Had some good moments, had some not so great moments, but it was a fine WrestleMania. Nothing like WrestleMania 39, in my opinion, though. What a WrestleMania. So we are at WrestleMania. We have a fantastic time. We fly out on Monday, before Monday Night Raw. And, watching WrestleMania, we will probably debate this for a little while now on the pod, just to see, and comparing it to older WrestleManias and nostalgia. Night 2 wasn't necessarily as good as Night 1, but I still thought it was extremely good with an extremely good main event. Obviously, everyone's questioning the outcome and the story and all that stuff. We'll get into that when we go into Night 2. Monday, boy, do things change in a day, so it seems, but we kind of know what has been going on backstage. Vincent Kenny McMahon announces the sale of WWE to Endeavor, the parent company of UFC. Basically is on many broadcast sites and interviews with CNBC. They ask him about creative and if he's going to be back involved with creative. And he says, in the trenches or in the weeds, whatever the fuck he said no. But in the overall arching, compass of wrestling, he said yes. Unfortunately, Monday Night Raw, Vince basically walked in the building and fucking ripped up everything that Triple H or whoever the hell had planned. And they changed it all. So, in terms of the booking, it seems right now, we are back to square one. And, I don't want to take what WrestleMania was and, make it this a negative episode. But what I will say is I hope that we enjoyed the last, 8 to 10 months of wrestling. Because if we are really back with Vince firmly in charge, which very much looks like it, this could set us back a while in terms of storylines that we actually care about, at least the major wrestling fans care about. Granted, we are not the only, the hardcore listeners and the hardcore watchers are not the only people that, Vince cares about or other people care about in terms of the WWE product. So maybe the casual fans don't give a fuck. But for us diehard wrestling fans, this is like a shot in the nuts. And I think it would be, honestly, a shot in the nuts to Triple H. Triple H has got the good graces back with the fans, I think, over the last 9 or 10 months. And has really instilled in us wrestling fans, the love that we have for wrestling again. And in terms of the storylines, we're coming through some of the best storylines at a WrestleMania between Dominic and Rey, the Bloodline, Sammy, Cody, all of this stuff. And we are now being absolutely dick punched by Vince McMahon again. I'll let you guys... that was my cold open, so I'll let you guys talk, but it's very disappointing, and I think it's disheartening, especially because if we come to do our podcast now every Monday and we just have nothing good to say, it's going to really suck to go over material that just blows. So I hope it's not like that. My hope is maybe Vince was just in town for LA, so he wanted to fuck around and mess up the Raw after WrestleMania because they're hyping it up so much. But I don't know if that's going to be the case. The real case is going to be in the next couple weeks, even this Friday, if Vince is back in Gorilla making changes to the fucking script. Talent's already pissed off. A lot of things are already happening. So this is going to be something that's going to be ongoing, I think. And as we talked about before, it always seemed like he was involved with some of the things that were happening at WrestleMania. But what I will say is, in terms of the booking of the matches, I doubt he had much influence besides just a handful of matches, maybe. Just because of how good the actual matches are. Because we were not getting those quality matches when Vince was in charge. So thoughts, gentlemen? I'll stop and I'll leave it to you guys.
So When I heard this news, I wasn't surprised by it because you knew, like, through the rumblings that Vince was going to somehow weasel his way back into this. It's your typical when you're rich, you're going to find the loopholes. You're going to find a way back into the cracks. He's just going to get power again. It just is what it is. He has money. He can pay people off. He has no one to answer to. And he can literally just do whatever he wants. He's going to book the show how he wants it. If superstars want to leave, sure, they'll leave, but unfortunately, they're going to take less money. And it's going to hurt them more than it hurts Vince because Vince is one of the richest guys in the world. It does nothing to him. If they choose to stay, they have to be toy soldiers to Vince and do whatever he tells them. So the superstars have no leeway. It's very angering because Triple H has done a phenomenal job. You can tell he cares about the superstars when he books creative decisions. Look at Rhea Ripley. Look what she was under Vince. Look what she is now under Triple H. She's the new SmackDown Women's Champion. She's probably the hottest woman in the company right now in terms of popularity. And Vince books almost as the first match on Monday Night Raw. He brings back Brock Lesnar for God knows whatever reason to align with Cody, and then turns on Cody before the match even starts for God knows whatever reason. Seth Rollins is in the ring, and I'm not sure if you guys saw the clip. Actually, I sent you guys it. They have one of the referees or the announcers whisper in Seth's ear, yeah, your promo's scrapped. Like, we're making changes last minute while he's in the fucking ring. How do you book a show like that? How do you operate a corporation when you're doing decisions like that? Taking the script, scrapping it up last minute. Superstars not knowing what their lines are going to be, what matches they're going to have. They find out that the old man just doesn't like the show that his son-in-law created. So I'll let Chris talk, but jealous. I'm infuriated by it. But honestly, I'm not surprised by it. It's typical Vince, and I think the only thing that we should do is, it's going to take a hit on us, is just a boycott until he gets out of there. Because I saw on Twitter, Fire Vince was trending worldwide. So I'll let Chris talk on this.
It's very unfortunate how many people are affected by this. You know, when Vince first came back, Stephanie resigned. Now, after what was possibly the greatest WrestleMania of all time, we're given with the worst Monday Night Raw of all time because Vince is back in Gorilla. And, you know, we've had such high hopes for what Triple H has had for the business, and we've seen superstars reaching, I'm not going to say their full potential, but they're starting the primes of their career. People like Rhea Ripley, people like Gunther. I mean, Cody Rhodes was as hot as he's ever been. And now Vince has him getting attacked by Brock Lesnar, like Sean said. For what reason? Who fucking knows? Just because Vince loves fucking
the John
Raw.
Cena 2012.
It's exactly John Cena 2012. It's mirroring what they did with John Cena. Because they want Cody Rhodes to have some sort of struggle to eventually capture that world championship. But the thing is, how is this going to affect Triple H? If Vince is back in Gorilla and at a high level, all the creative has to go by him, Triple H isn't going to want to do that. Triple H is going to be told no for everything that he wants to do because Vince has a different vision than him. Vince, at this point in his career, at his age, doesn't give a shit about what the fans want. He doesn't care about ratings. And Triple H, those two things is what he prides himself on. He wants to give the fans what they want. He wants to, you know, make these younger generation superstars, you know, thrive in something that Vince wasn't doing with them. Vince was just releasing them. And Triple H takes these guys back and makes them so much better. So, like you said on SmackDown, if Vince is sitting Gorilla and he's ripping up scripts half hour before the show or changing segments during the show, we're going to be in for a long run because I don't see Endeavor or whoever the owners are of this company firing Vince. I don't see that happening. Vince is very successful. Like you said, Sean, he's got all the money to pay whoever he wants off to always be in power and always be in charge. We'll see if Triple H is the one in charge on SmackDown, if he gets a high rating for that show, which if he's in complete control, I think he will. But I mean, we'll find out. It's just very unfortunate to us fans as well. Like I said, because WrestleMania 39 was so great. And that Monday Night Raw was supposed to be phenomenal. And I mean, I don't know if you guys watched it. I didn't watch it, but all I had to see was Twitter to see what was going on. And from what everybody was saying, it was absolute dog shit of a show.
I did watch parts. I have a couple things about Raw. So the one thing, Triple H came out and basically assured us on Monday night that the WWE we know isn't going anywhere. Wow. It seems like he was saying goodbye, basically, because he knew that was not fucking true, because it seemed like he had no control at all in the show.
I think Triple H is going to be out of there by the end of 2023.
I mean, I don't know. It really depends, because I don't know where this is going to go. The other thing is, I'm okay with Brock Lesnar attacking Cody and building a program with Lesnar and Rhodes. What WWE is obsessed about, which is, this can go one of two ways, right? You can build adversity for Cody, and Paul Heyman came out and said this yesterday, that he thinks Cody's a bigger star now that he lost at WrestleMania. They are really banking on the fact that Cody Rhodes is going to still have the steam he did going into WrestleMania. We were there. I don't know if I've heard someone chanted so loud before, ever. The atmosphere was ridiculous. I think they're banking on the fact that, and listen, Paul Heyman in his segment on Raw basically said, you're not getting a title match at Backlash. You're not getting one at SummerSlam. He kept naming pay-per-views. The only pay-per-view, it's seemingly the big pay-per-view he did not name, was WrestleMania. So what that says to me is they could potentially fucking delay this a whole year and say WrestleMania 40, it's going to be Roman against Cody again. Don't you think people are going to be a little tired at that point of having Cody chasing now for over a year and a half? I don't know. That seems like a long time and very, I don't know. I guess there's a lot more story, but that's a long time, a very, very long time to have the same person as champion. For now it's 1,000 days. Everyone's obsessed with the 1,000-day number for Roman. So I thought that was very interesting about Cody. I'm fine with the Lesnar program. I kind of had a feeling Lesnar wasn't going to wrestle on TV anyways. He hardly ever wrestles a free match anymore. But yeah, it's unfortunate.
It's beat and switch, that's all it is.
It's an unfortunate thing because they now have foregone 2 times where they've had these very large babyface reactions for people. They did it with Sammy, and now they're doing it with Cody. You had both of them lose. And I'm not saying no one can ever get back to that level of, babyface, you're going to get cheered a ton. But usually when lightning strikes, you got to fucking, capitalize on that, right? They did the same thing with Kofi Kingston. They did the same thing with Daniel Bryan. They gave them the championship at that time. Why do they have to go through... My big point of this is this. Why does Cody have to go through a year of adversity to prove he should win the title? If he won the title, Heyman said there was nothing for him to do after winning the title. That's bullshit. You can start a new feud with someone else. I'm really, I can see both sides. We had the same reaction. I think all 3 of us, we were very surprised with the outcome of the match, but we were still also understanding that both could have won that match. But with Vince, I am very nervous to see the future, and my hope is it was only a week or 2 thing. Do I think that? I really don't know, but I want to kind of drift away from the negative so we can at least talk about something positive, because this might be the last time we do a very positive review. WrestleMania 39 Night 1, and WrestleMania 39 as a whole, I think we are putting it on a pedestal right now. It is not recency bias. I think if you look at this pay-per-view, this is up there in the top 3 Manias of all time, if not the best. So, WrestleMania... Oh, and shout out to Sean. Sean got his first match card win, and it was a big one. WrestleMania, big W for Sean, so that was a big up for him. So let's go through the card.
Thank you, boys. Thank you.
Opening match was John Cena and Austin Theory. One thing I'll say before we even get into the card, that stage was also probably one of the best of all time. There are some other stages, that maybe rival it, but boy, was that a beautiful setup for a stage. Said very much everything you need to say about Hollywood, about LA. They had the nice movie posters of every wrestler on the sides of the stage as well. They rotated throughout. Just an incredibly long walkway as well, but incredible stage. So John Cena and Austin Theory came out. We were actually lucky enough to be in attendance for an Austin Theory interview with Ryan Satin on Fox Sports at the Superstore. And it really gave us a deeper dive into Austin Theory, not just the wrestler, but the person. So we were actually super, super excited for that. So that was really cool. The match itself, I thought was, and I watched it again, good, not great. I think we all kind of wanted something a little bit more from John Cena. We didn't see one AA in the match. But when I watch it back, I actually thought it was a little bit better than I did in person, because I think I was just a little bit critical for an opening match. But it had ton of heat, ton of pop. And I thought they did well enough. And giving Theory this win, I think it elevates him to new levels in terms of being able to beat John Cena at WrestleMania. Did not win clean, but still won. And I'll go to you guys. Thoughts on this match?
It was, me and Sean looked at each other after the match, and we were like, that was a little disappointing. And then, because, John Cena's the GOAT. He's one of the greatest of all time. I know he's a little bit older now. I think we just wanted to see a little bit more from him. Like Jeremy said, there was not one AA in the match from him. And I would have liked to see Theory, I know we keep using this word adversity. I would have liked to see Theory go through some adversity during that match, because it didn't really happen. He didn't win clean. John Cena wasn't really on the attack during the match. I feel like Theory definitely carried that match, and he was on the offensive most of the time. He's biting Cena's ear. He hit him with the low blow. He was doing a lot of cheap shots, which is what Austin Theory does. So that's cool that we got to see that. It was a good opening match for night one because of, the atmosphere. The crowd was into it because it's John Cena, and Austin Theory takes the most heat out of a lot of people in WWE right now. So Austin Theory was definitely the right winner for the game, and for my heart, I picked John Cena for that match. But Austin Theory was definitely the right pick for you guys to win that match. He deserved it. He's still the youngest U.S. champion ever, and he's got a bright career ahead of him. So, night one was off to, a pretty good start after this match, and it was honestly probably in ring quality, maybe the worst match of the night, which is shocking.
And total time before Sean goes was 11 minutes and 20 seconds for this match.
Yeah.
So I also watched this match on TV just to see if my opinion would change on it. So it also felt that in person, it felt a lot shorter than it did when I was watching on TV, which is a good thing because when I watch on TV back, it felt it was 5 minutes longer than in person. So that's a plus side of it. I do think that Cena could have done more. I get it because of his the injury risk because of his Hollywood career. But I felt like he could have done more movesets side slams, fisherman suplexes, like you guys mentioned, not a single AA. I don't expect him to go in the top turnbuckle and do the leg drop because he's 45, I think, 45 years old. I don't expect him doing that within a Hollywood career, but yeah. And then on Theory's side, Theory did well. Theory to me also kind of felt limited. He wasn't really doing that many different variations of his movesets. I expected a dirty finish, but I didn't like the low blow, the traditional generic low blow, and then the A-town down at the end. It just felt very forced. But I love John Cena. I love Austin Theory. Two great guys. Theory's the future. John Cena is one of the GOATs. I'll take it. It is what it is. Not a bad match, but definitely not one of the top ones. And I also agree, probably the worst match on the card. But that's not a bad thing because the whole match, the whole card in general was amazing.
That's crazy to say.
Not an insult.
Crazy to say going into it that Austin Theory and John Cena would be the worst match in terms of wrestling ability for night one. The second match was, and before we move on, Theory seems to be starting a program with Rey Mysterio potentially. I'm not really sure because I feel like we're going to get Rey Mysterio and Bad Bunny involved with Damian Priest and the Judgment Day and Dominic for Backlash, so I'm not too sure about that. But we'll see where Theory goes from here, and he still has the U.S. title. The second match was quite a fun match, and we thought it would be, a decent match to kind of move on. And, we weren't really sure what we were expecting. There's some good people in it, but was the Fatal 4-Way Men's Showcase match. A shorter match than I actually anticipated. It was only 8 minutes and 30 seconds, but there were some fun-ass spots in this match. The first thing that stands out, again, a guy that's going on a singles run, Chad Gable, continues to amaze usually every single week now, but at WrestleMania, I just remember him running into the corner, bear hugging Strowman, and when he usually does his German suplex, he did the roll up, and then he German suplexed Braun Strowman. Freakishly large man, and it was really, really cool to see some of these moves in person. Because on TV, sure, it still looks crazy, but in person, like, we're reacting like right away. It's like right in front of our face. Chad Gable had some great spots. Ricochet had some great spots in this match. There was a time, I think 3 or 4 big men in a row went off the top rope. So it was Dawkins, it was Ivar, it was Strowman. Strowman ended up going to the top rope and doing a frog splash. This whole match was just entertaining and fun throughout the whole thing. Montez Ford had some good spots, and they came out with the Street Profits winning the match, and then they had a tag team match on Raw that they did not win. But fun ass match, and it was also very short compared to what I thought they were going to do. And we did forget to say Miz and Snoop kicked off WrestleMania. I'm just going to go through that a couple times. They came in the ring a few times this weekend, so we'll talk about that. Thoughts on that match, guys? I mean, it was just entertaining to watch, to be honest. Just fun.
Yeah, this match, it was about 8 minutes, a little over 8 minutes, I believe. But all I have to say is, holy shit. What a fucking match that was. Yeah. We knew there's athletes in that ring. We know that there's some big men in that ring. I don't think any of us expected them to put on the show that they did. And usually that second spot is kind of a tough spot at a WrestleMania specifically. We've known a lot of matches that went second that the crowd was already a little bit out of it. They usually put a match that's kind of careless in that spot. But wow, did these 4 tag teams deliver? You're talking about the Chad Gable suplex, something that I can't get out of my mind. Is Angelo Dawkins absolutely lighting up Braun Strowman during the Strowman Express.
Yep.
I can't. That's replaying in my head over and over. He lit him up when he hit that corner. Just wow. Ricochet is probably one of the best athletes in the world. And Chad Gable also should go on a singles run. The Street Profits picked up a big win here. None of us picked that match right. We all said that this is a coin flip of a match. Any 4 of those teams could have won. But wow, absolute banger of a match in that second spot. There was a lot of action in 8 minutes. And then watching it on TV back yesterday, it was just as good. The crowd was into it the whole time. They kept bringing off a better move than the previous move. It was crazy. What a match.
This was the best Fatal 4-Way tag match I've probably ever seen because it had a little something for everybody. You had the power moves. You had the high-flying moves. You got the high-flying moves from some of the bigger guys like Strowman with the frog splash. Strowman's Express, Dawkins lays him out. You got probably one of the best athletes in Ricochet, who's probably got the cleanest shooting star press I've ever seen. Gable lifting up like 350-pound Strowman for a German suplex. Like, some of the spots were absolutely ridiculous. I'm like, how on earth were they able to do that? And it was fast-paced. And for the bigger guys, they all look like they could hang with like the smaller guys. So where normally you'll think that like their gas tank won't be able to handle it. Eric and Ivar look good in there as well. Like everyone delivered in. Man, I'm just still recapping in my head all the spots in that match. So well done by all 8 of these guys.
And like we said, very fast paced, but for 8 minutes, it seemed like it just went on fast. And the Street Profits won. The next match was the third match on the card. This match was 16 minutes long, 16-15. Seth Rollins against Logan Paul. Logan Paul gets the zip line entrance, which I wasn't. Sure, it's cool. I just don't think someone like Logan is necessarily up for that spot. I like Logan as a wrestler. He's had 4 matches and he's already getting ridiculous entrances when folks who have been there for years can't even get like a. I don't think Becky Lynch has had a good entrance that's been like over the top since she's been in there. So it's a little bit concerning. But besides that, Seth Rollins came out with the conductor, which was hilarious for singing his song. This match was very good, as we expected it to be, in terms of the spots in the match. A couple of spots to highlight, of course. Logan did come down with a Prime bottle that was later known to be KSI. He ends up, actually, Rollins is on the table. He ends up pulling the Prime bottle on before Logan notices, and he hits the frog splash on him. So I thought that was hilarious and a good spot there. Logan seemed to get a lot of offense again in this match as well. It seemed like the people that you didn't expect to get a ton of offense carrying the matches seemed to. But Rollins does get his win at WrestleMania, which I thought was super, super important. And yeah, it was a good match. I don't necessarily think it was the best match on the card, in my opinion, but it's close. It's up there, you know. It's tough because there was so many good matches, I think, on this night. So, but it was a very good match.
This was one of the matches I was looking the most forward to because I think, you know, Logan Paul's a great athlete. I'm actually a big fan of his, and Seth Rollins is Seth Rollins. He's the best wrestler in ring in WWE right now. And the presentation of just this entire WrestleMania was great. I'm glad that there was a different variation of entrances and stuff like that. I think giving Logan a microphone while he was on the zip line was fantastic because, you know, he's talking shit the whole time. That's what Logan Paul does. He just talks. And then Seth Rollins with the conductor, you know, I think they could have gone without piping in the music, like the chants.
Yep.
I wasn't a fan of that. But then Seth Rollins came out in this big red suit. I don't know what the hell it was, but it absolutely fits him and his character. And then there was some great spots in the match. You know, when I saw the Prime bottle, I looked at the guys and I was like, imagine if Jake Paul is in that suit. But, you know, it made sense that it was KSI because that's his partner for Prime. I thought it was so cool that KSI was recording and then Seth Rollins pulls him onto the table and Logan hits the frog splash on KSI and KSI laid there for 10 minutes like he was dead after having that done to him. And then you know, there were some cool spots in the ring. We thought that Logan Paul was about to go for a coast to coast just for Seth Rollins to get up and hit a super kick midair. You know, I think both men are incredibly good at selling. And, you know, for 16 minutes, there wasn't a lot of downtime in the match. I think it was a great match. It was probably a B+ or an A- on my scale. And, you know, another good match at this WrestleMania.
Yeah, this match was excellent. We kind of figured it would be, you know, Logan Paul, one of the best athletes in the company, and he's only been around for 4 or 5 matches. Seth Rollins, like you guys said, best current wrestler in the company. Seth had the nice like pink gear on, which is very new. It was very cool to see. Logan with the blue and yellow, which is really cool. It was a good presentation of the entrances. In ring, there was some really good spots. I like Seth doing like the 3 suicide dives. Logan, I remember he got his hand stomped at one point, and I like the attention to detail that they played where they made it as if Logan was going to win because he knocked out Seth with the punch. but he had to delay the pinfall because his hand was still like busted after the right hand he threw. So I like the little details they did on that. Logan still has a very good buckshot. Adam Page is like the originator, one of the originators, but it's still excellent. Both of them back and forth. They had some good technical moves in them. They had obviously the power moves like different suplexes and stuff. KSI being involved. I also thought Jake Paul was in there, so thank God it wasn't. But KSI in there, I mean, he did his job. I don't mind it because it was fun. It was entertaining. When he had the phone out, I knew immediately. As soon as he was right there, I'm like, Seth's bringing that motherfucker right in there to take that bump. So very good match. It was probably maybe the second best match on the card, debatable. But it was an overall great time.
And then the next match was the 6-woman tag. So we had Damage Control versus Trish, Lita, and Becky Lynch. This was also better than expected, to be honest. I think every match was better than expected, or right where we expected it to be. What I will say about this match, Lita does look a little slow in there at times. And I thought of the two, Trish really shined when she was in the ring. I thought Trish looked like she was like 10 years younger than I thought she was. Because it looks like she still can move pretty well. And I think that settles in nice if that is a potential match we get. The rumored matches that her and Becky Lynch is planned for SummerSlam potentially. That seems like a pretty intriguing match to me if Trish is going to stick around. So we'll see what happens. But I thought this match was good. It had some good opportunities. What I will say that's bad about it is another loss for Damage Control. They seem to be just compounding on the losses, and I don't really know what's in store for them. Another big thing from Raw was their segment got scrapped. So who the hell knows? I'm sure they were very frustrated, and I think a lot of people are frustrated. So we will see where they go from here.
Yeah, another loss for Damage Control. It's shocking that Sean won the game, considering he picked Damage Control for 9.
Yeah.
That's very shocking to me that me and Jeremy couldn't capitalize on that pick. But, they've pretty much, that group has evaporated into thin air at this point. They're done. They're buried. Trish, like you said, she looked fantastic. I didn't say anything that night, but I was like, wow, that gear looks really familiar to me. Mm-hmm. And she actually went on Twitter or Instagram and posted that was actually the WrestleMania 22 gear kind of inspired that. So that's really cool. I think her moveset is a lot more diverse than it was back in the day. And I think that goes to show that the girls nowadays are just a lot better and easier to work with. And Lita does look slow. She has a tough time throwing punches, running off the ropes. She did do the moonsault, which was pretty cool. I mean, she'll probably always be able to do that. And then, Becky Lynch gets the pin for the win. We get to hear her theme music again. I thought her orange gear was great. And I'm really hoping that we do get a Trish and Becky Lynch program at some point. And I wasn't big on them bringing back Trish and Lita for this, but I'm happy with the outcome. I'm happy I got to see them. Pretty good match for, what the build was, except for that last segment they had on Monday Night Raw last week. But, I was happy with the outcome. This was another one probably around like a B- or a B for that match. But, it was pretty decent.
Yeah, it was a decent match. My only gripe is, and this is not for game purposes, this is just for overall kind of long-term booking. How do you have Damage Control lose when you have Trish and Lita, who are part-timers, coming back? A 3-on-3 is a perfect opportunity for Damage Control to go over on the, past their prime legends. As long as Becky's not eating the pinfall, it should have been Trish or Lita taking that pinfall. I don't like that Bayley's also eating pinfalls too. That's a big pet peeve of mine. Bayley is one of the top stars in the company, and they're just booking her to take L after L. And I don't know why they're doing it. Damage Control is very good, but they're just creatively, they're evaporating thin air, like Chris said. It's just not working. Becky did not need this win. I love Becky, but it's another victory for her that really wasn't needed. She does her thing in there. She's excellent. Trish looked very good. She had some good spots in there. Lita did not, unfortunately, but I don't really put it past her because obviously she's older. I don't really care because I wasn't expecting anything great from her. I wasn't expecting 15 years ago Lita. I just don't like the booking of Damage Control, and we're probably going to see that split very soon, if not probably within the next couple weeks. So I would say probably C minus overall for this
Something
match.
else to mention is we were at WrestleMania 35 as well when Sasha Banks at the time and Bayley lost the tag team titles. And now we're at WrestleMania 39 4 years later. Bayley yet again losing another tag team match that, like Sean said, for booking purposes, probably should have won.
And she's also never been in a singles match at WrestleMania for the title.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just don't
Correct,
see her
yep.
as the person. I'm not sure. They don't see her as the woman. I don't know. That is depressing though, because I on their own, like the members of Damage Control are actually very good. You have 2 stars from NXT. Io's an incredible wrestler. Obviously, he's not great on the promo work, but Dakota Kai is pretty well rounded. Good wrestler. Pretty good on the mic. I don't know what the fuck happened. We were so excited when this group formed, and it just seems to have taken an absolute nosedive into the abyss. So Trish, Lita, and Becky pick up this win. Match was fine. It was almost 15 minutes. The next match, wow. Almost 15 minutes as well. We had father versus son, Rey versus Dominic. A lot of stuff to go over in this match. First things first that comes right to the forefront is the entrances. Prison Dom gets elevated to a point where they are backing him up in a cop van or a cop car, kind of releasing him from prison. He's in handcuffs, and he's actually in the mask as well when he comes out and gets escorted to the ring. What an incredible, incredible entrance. They did a promo package beforehand of him walking through jail as well. And this was just so well done. And then after he comes out, Rey Mysterio comes out in the lowrider with Snoop, and Eddie's music hits, and what a moment. I knew Dominic was probably losing once Eddie's music came on. But yeah, that entrance was incredible. Very, very cool. What was really great is I thought this match did exactly what it was supposed to do for me in terms of being a great story. They told a great story throughout the whole match. There were great spots. The family was involved. Dom threw the cup of whatever Aaliyah was drinking right in her face. Rey Mysterio came over and clocked him. Not clocked her, Jesus. But an incredible match. It was just so entertaining. And Michael Cole was losing his fucking mind like he was a part of the Mysterio household in this match. It seemed like he was so invested. And he's been invested the whole time in this storyline. So it was very, very exciting to see this match kind of unfold. It was interesting that Rey Mysterio won. I understood why he won, but I also would have understood if he put Dominic over. But the feud will continue now, so I think this is kind of where we're at. But great match here. I was really, really excited just to watch this match in general. It was one of my favorites builds going up to it. So it delivered everything I wanted it to.
Yeah, another one that had a great presentation as far as entrances, other than, WWE using footage of fucking Auschwitz in the Dominic, prison promo, which they had to cut out when they aired it on Peacock. Anyways, Dominic in handcuffs, I thought it was hilarious. And, he had the mask on when he came out of the ambulance or whatever. He gets into the ring. The crowd is booing the shit out of him, including, I believe, all of us. And then Snoop Dogg and Rey Mysterio come up on the screen riding the lowrider, and then Eddie's music hits. What a moment. We haven't heard that theme song in WWE since probably Eddie Guerrero passed away. So that was phenomenal. And then Rey gets out of the car. His music hits. I think this is probably Rey's best gear of all time, or close to it. It kind of mirrored his WrestleMania 20 gear for me with the Flash. So his gear was phenomenal. playing the family at ringside where Ray threw the drink in her face was Dominic threw the drink in her face was great. Priest and Finn Balor came out at one point, and then LWO came out to help Ray. Ray picked up the win. I think picking Ray to win this match was the right thing to do. A father putting his son in his place, and now that son needs to respect his father. And this is one of Michael Cole's greatest matches that I think he's ever called as well. He was into it the whole time. He was excited. And it's good to see commentary like that, because for such a long time, Michael Cole just sounded so disinterested. Everything sounded so scripted for him.
Mr. Monotone.
Exactly. So for him to be excited, even without McAfee by his side, is great to see. His clips were going all over the internet about him jumping up and down. And, this was just a great match. Another one that I was looking forward to. I think this had probably the second best build of a match going into WrestleMania. So that was phenomenal. What a match. Another one that was probably, an A, close to an A+, if you ask me, because of the story. But phenomenal match.
Yeah, starting with the theme songs, Dom coming out with the handcuffs was brilliant, very creative. The ex-con Dom gimmick was really cool with the police sirens coming out there with the mask. Rey Mysterio coming out to Snoop Dogg, nothing but a G thing, and then swapping over to Rey Mysterio, to Eddie Guerrero's Latino Heat theme was awesome. It brought back a lot of nostalgia back in the day. So I really appreciate they did that. And then in ring, I've been very hard on Dominic, but he delivered with Ray. It seemed like, obviously being father and son, you knew there was going to be chemistry, but it just seemed like they knew what each person was going to do, what the other was going to be doing at each given spot. The Hurricane Ranas, the 619s they were doing, like, they just delivered. There was no botches, no like slow pace. They knew exactly how the feel of the match was. Dom throwing the water on Aaliyah, Angie smacking the shit out of Dom, Ray whipping out the belt, and then Michael Cole, yeah, he deserves it. He deserves it. That was really cool. So there were some excellent moments in this match, and to me, I thought the right winner was made because of the fact of how much offense Dom got during the build. It was really cool to see how it played out, and I think there's going to be probably 2 or 3 more matches, maybe 1 or 2 more matches probably down the line. And I think Dom will probably end the feud. We'll probably go over on Ray, but this is a kicker and opener of like a couple like classics here to come with these two.
Yeah, very exciting for this match, and I was very happy how it turned out. It was really awesome. Then we moved into the women's match, which Charlotte thought she was going to get main event, and she was told beforehand she was not. So you could tell on her face she was Miss Pouty all night as well by her nonverbal language. And she then took to Twitter yesterday and the day after that to say this was the main event. So she definitely wanted to hit her point home that they should have main evented. They absolutely made the right decision here with them not main eventing. And we'll talk about the main event soon. But Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. Wow. Potentially, and watching it back, top 3 women's match in terms of WrestleMania of all time, and could be even better than that. It is very, we expected them to have a good match, but they really, really, really had a good match. I thought it started out a bit stiff. The first 5 minutes was a bit slow. They really picked it up after that, and so the beating that Charlotte took in this match and in some of these bumps was pretty spectacular. I give her a ton of credit. I give Charlotte her props. I think she's the go to women's wrestling, but this match showcased everything it needed to showcase and put Rhea Ripley in front of everyone's eyes as exactly what she is. She is an absolute powerhouse, and she's an absolute stud. And this match did that for her, in my opinion, and really put her into, Triple H was saying she's almost on Roman Reigns level, or she's on Roman Reigns level. I don't necessarily know if that's true, we can debate that. But she is definitely up there right now in terms of where her character was to where her character is right now. She's on top of the world. So I'm really excited to see what happens with her on SmackDown. We did get a standoff with her and Bianca on Raw, which, SummerSlam or WrestleMania next year, that's a match I want to see. But what a match between these two. About 23, let me get the official time. It was 23:35, and it was hard hitting for most of this match. The physicality in this match was great. I thought the physicality was very similar in the Ronda Rousey match, Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair last year, because they were very physical, and I really liked that. But this one took it to a whole nother level. It was really just a Rhea Ripley showcase, and rightfully so. She won the Royal Rumble, outlasted 30 other women, 29 other women, and came out on top. And came out on top here, and I think was the right decision for the win. But the crowd was wild for this match, and they were also wild for Rhea Ripley the entire time with the entrances and all that stuff. So I thought that was great.
Yeah, Rhea Ripley comes out first. Her entrance is always great. It lights up purple. She's an absolute star. Her theme song's great. It fits her so well. And then Charlotte comes out. And, another great presentation of an entrance. Charlotte's always going to have a great entrance. She's got the robe. She's got the look. She's looking ripped at this point, too. I think she cut a lot, but she's got abs coming out now. We didn't see that before. Might be a little too much.
She wants to do a bodybuilding competition, so
I figured that's what it was. She's not going to be able to wrestle in that type of shape. I'll tell you that. She's going to have no energy.
I know.
But this is probably, if not the second best, the first best WrestleMania women's match of all time. And I'm glad that Rhea Ripley picked up the win here. This is one that we were saying could go either way just because of Charlotte Flair, who she is. And like Jeremy said, the crowd was into it. It did get off to a slow start. I will say that. I think the crowd was quiet at first. But I'm going to say, 10 minutes into it, they started getting that thing going. They were hitting hard. The crowd started feeling it. And Charlotte gets a lot more cheers than, it may seem like on TV. People really still love Charlotte Flair and want her to win. And like I said, I'm glad Rhea Ripley picked up the win here. And it's interesting for me to say this, but I think Rhea Ripley's on a higher level than anybody else in the business as a woman right now, Bianca Belair included. Bianca Belair is 3-0 at WrestleMania now, and she's held that Raw Women's Championship for over a year now. But Rhea Ripley just feels so much more important to me, and I think that she's going to have an incredible championship run here. Maybe she'll have a title for the next year. I don't know who the person is to beat her, and at this point in their career, I don't think it's going to be Bianca Belair. I think Rhea Ripley is actually at a higher level than Charlotte Flair at this point. Charlotte Flair is obviously the GOAT for women, but I think this win did so much for Rhea Ripley and her career. It wrote the wrong that happened at WrestleMania 36 when there was no crowd in attendance. And like I said, this was a fantastic match from start to finish. A little slow at first, but once they got in that groove, those girls were not stopping.
Yeah, when it comes to Charlotte Flair, I always separate the character with the in-ring ability. I'm not gonna get into how I feel about her as a character and outside the ring, but in the ring, that woman can wrestle her ass off. She is phenomenal. It was mind blowing some of the stuff I saw from her. That moonsault she did near the end was one of the cleanest moonsaults I've ever seen. Landed perfectly. She's as tough as they come. She took a very hard shot. Remember, she landed on her face in her stomach on a German suplex. The German suplex that Rhea gave her around maybe 3/4 of the match in. And she takes some of these wild bumps, and someone as big as Rhea, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna leave a mark or two. There was a little bit of everything, some good submissions in this match. It was very violent. It turned into a brawl at some aspects of the match. Rhea Ripley is that woman right now. She's on top of the world, and the only competition I see for is Becky. And even Becky, from a physical standpoint, you wouldn't think it's believable that someone Becky's size could take out Rhea because of the size difference. Only one really is Bianca. And at this stage, I think Rhea goes over on Bianca if we do get that at WrestleMania 40. But phenomenal match. Rhea wins with the Riptide at the end, and those two showed out. And to me, top two. I think it's the second best ever. Maybe it could edge in the number one, but I still have Sasha and Bianca at 37 as number one. But this is a close second for sure.
And then we had an impromptu match. The Miz was back in the ring. The Miz had 3 matches at WrestleMania. The one downfall, LA Knight and Bobby Lashley had 0 matches at WrestleMania. So Miz is in the ring, and Pat McAfee's music hits, and he comes down to challenge The Miz. They had a quick 4-minute match, nothing crazy. It was very cool to see Pat McAfee. He was one of the surprises. The other surprise we'll talk about night 2 did not go so well. But fine. It was a fine thing. Like, you knew The Miz was probably going to get beat up this weekend. I was just hoping for something a little bit more. And then it was main event time. They made the decision, and we found out that the tag team match would be main eventing WrestleMania Night 1, WrestleMania Saturday. And boy, this was the right decision just based on the story alone. And the outcome says everything that you need to say about an opportunity given to 2 folks, in this case Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, that just put in all the work. Sami Zayn specifically, but Kevin Owens is also integral to the story. Put in so much work over the past year with the Bloodline, and to see the payoff, it was everything I wanted it to be and more. The match itself was great. You knew it was going to be great because the Usos are fantastic to work with. They've been champs for over 600 days. This now leaves the Bloodline a little bit battered, with less championships. But damn, what a match, and what an opportunity to have a tag team match main event a WrestleMania. You never thought that usually happens, right? So I thought it was the correct choice, and they showed out exactly what they needed to. And for me, it was an incredible moment to watch that live. The 3 haluva kicks that ended the match, just the storytelling alone was just so incredible. And especially to witness it, like I said, live. It's just that, when this WrestleMania ended, when night 1 ended, we all looked at each other and said, this could be, if Sunday delivers, this could be the best WrestleMania of all time. You don't get to say that very often, especially for a whole night. Like, night 1 was, every match was good enough to make it, in terms of, you have 1 or 2 not so great matches, to make it that best Mania of all time. This was a great cap to the best story of the year, in my opinion.
To witness this live, I'm happy I got to witness it at WrestleMania 39. The Usos come out in white. They're always going to deliver with their gear. They had the nice, slick white gear. Kevin Owens comes out, gets a huge pop. Sami Zayn comes out. We're all singing along to his theme song. You feel the emotion in the crowd, but watching it back on TV, you don't actually see the emotion in their faces until you watch it on TV. Because, we're sitting a little bit far back. When they had the final pin, you see tears in Kevin Owens' eyes, you see tears in Sami Zayn's eyes, and then they hug, they hold up the titles that, Sami's been put through the ringer with the Bloodline. So for him to get his payoff in the main event of, that's his first main event of WrestleMania. This was Kevin Owens' second in a row. And, I think this is big for the Usos as well. Maybe Jeremy might have them on the Mount Rushmore after this, that they got to main event a WrestleMania.
Very true.
Defending those tag team titles that they've been the longest reigning of. And there were some great spots in this match as well. Kevin Owens doing the frog splash to the outside on Jimmy Uso. That looked like it hurt more than anything. Sami Zayn doing the brainbuster to Jey Uso on the ring apron. Kevin Owens going through the table. The Usos throwing their vintage super kicks to Sami Zayn, and he looks like he's dead. Kevin Owens with the stunner, Sami Zayn with the 3 haluva kicks. This was an A+. This absolutely deserved main event. And after that Rhea and Charlotte match, I was a little bit nervous. I'm not going to lie.
For sure.
I think we all were a little nervous because we were like, wow, that absolutely delivered.
Yep.
If this main event does not deliver, Charlotte Flair was right. That she deserved that main event. So thank you, Bloodline, KO and Sammy, for delivering that tag match. This one was almost 25 minutes as well. This was the longest match of the night. There's just not enough I can say about this match. Fantastic match. Like you said, after night one, we said this could be the greatest WrestleMania of all time. And this match, because of this match ending that night the way it did, I think puts it in that conversation.
Yeah, I agree. This was the most emotional and probably the best match of the night because of the storyline and what the friendship meant, like how Sammy rekindles friendship with Kevin Owens and to come back and win the tag belts together after Sammy went through one of the worst years and best years of his life as far as the whole, like how he was lined up with the Bloodline. Do they really love me for me? Are they just using me? The back and forth. With the 3 haluva kicks at the end, it kind of had that same feel as the Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair at WrestleMania 24 when he was like, I'm sorry, I love you. When Sammy was holding up his face and he was saying something, we don't know what he said. Obviously, there was no mic'd up or thing, but it felt like he was basically saying, you know what, I don't want to do this, but I have to. This is what you did to me. I got to do this to get my victory and to end this whole entire storyline. It was awesome, some of the spots that happened. Kevin Owens is the ultimate company guy. He puts himself in harm's way. The guy I don't know how he's able to walk with some of the spots and bumps he takes. He is an excellent worker for how big he is. Sammy was phenomenal. It seems like Sammy got a second wind and like his wrestling has gotten like much better. Usos are excellent. With the one down near at the end, Michael Cole nearly lost his shit. No one's ever kicked out of that. Like Michael Cole was hilarious on commentary. So shout out to Michael Cole for being the GOAT on like the commentary during WrestleMania 39. But man, oh man, this match in WrestleMania was amazing. I don't have enough words for
hard.
it.
And I think that it described night one, I think for us, is after it was done, I was really still in shock, I think, of how good the show was. Because, of course the card looks great on paper, but to actually see the results of such a well put together match card is something that we don't get often. So when we got that, I think I was like thinking to myself, damn, I was thinking about myself the whole next day on Sunday before we got to the stadium when we were at WrestleCon. It was like, damn, they could really fucking do it here. And for me, it was, I just hope we get that back because of the news and stuff with Vince. I personally, I was sitting there, don't get me wrong, I had such an amazing time, but it really makes you, to your core, in my opinion, at least this is how I felt on Saturday, this is exactly why I love professional wrestling. It was an opportunity for me to see all these storylines play out, and I was so invested in so many of these matches. And the ones I wasn't as invested in, or I thought wouldn't be as great, they made me invested and they outdid my expectations. So it was a really exciting thing to happen for me, at least. I'll let them speak for themselves, but it really just reinvigorated why, being at WrestleMania, what a once in a lifetime, spectacular thing it is. We've been lucky enough to go twice, but it's something that if you don't experience it and you are a wrestling fan, you absolutely have to experience it, because, and especially for this one, because it was so good, it just brings life into you that you did not know did not exist before that moment. And for me, it was like an out of body experience. And I think it was even more out of body than WrestleMania 35 was for me. Maybe it was because it was my first one and I really had to take it all in. But I felt like I really took this one in and I just had an amazing time, also because the match card was just so good. They just did everything for me that I wanted. Not necessarily all the picks I got were correct and all that stuff, but it made me forget about that and not even care about the game and just have a good time watching wrestling. And for me, that's where I kind of left off.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this is the second one, and I asked you guys this question last week on the podcast.
Yep.
Which one are you looking more forward to? Was it the first one or the second one? You guys kind of gave an answer, kind of didn't. But in my head, I was like, I always loved 35, going to New York. It was the first one. This one blows it out of the water for me. Absolutely. Yeah. 35 was very long. I think the 2 nights makes a huge difference.
Agreed.
But this is something that I don't really do. I don't travel that much. So to get to travel to LA with you guys and, see all these other fans around, the excitement about going to the Superstore, us buying gear, all that stuff. That's what I love about this. Even if we didn't see WrestleMania, I love everything else about it. I love seeing fans, the belts, the gear. And then just sitting in those seats at WrestleMania just makes it way better, especially when WWE actually delivers.
Yeah.
Like you said, an out-of-body experience. I haven't been able to stop thinking about sitting there both nights and seeing a great match card and just hearing the crowd, the music, the wrestlers. As kids, we looked up to these people as like these huge icons and huge stars. And then we go to something like the Superstore, where we're right next to Austin Theory, someone who's actually younger than us. But we're like, holy shit, that's Austin Theory. That's incredible. We're right next to him, taking a picture with Sheamus, a selfie with Sheamus. I wasn't going to get in the picture. He called me over to get in the picture. Shit like that is what I love about wrestling. And, it makes you feel something on the inside that maybe you had as a kid, and now growing up, you have it again. And it feels good.
Yeah, I love the fact that we got to experience the 2 WrestleManias, one on the East Coast and then one on the West Coast. So you kind of got to see the differences among the environment, what weather-wise, the people there. I'm going to start with one bad thing, and then it's going to be positive the rest of the day. And we'll talk about it tomorrow because it happened on night 2, but I was very disturbed at the fans that were behind us. And actually, there's one point, the last 2 matches, I actually kind of ruined the last 2 matches for me, to be honest with you. Because I felt like I'm trying to focus. I'm not sure if you guys felt the same way. I'm trying to focus and be tuned into the match. And I just hear these 4 bozos beside us saying very disturbing stuff that we don't need to get into. But that's the bad stuff. Other than that, the show, night 1 to me, from a wrestling standpoint, is probably the greatest WrestleMania from top to bottom. If the worst match on the card involves John Cena, you did something right. So I appreciate that a lot. The 2-night event makes it so much better with their energy levels, and it just Triple H having a 3.5 to 4 hour show each was really cool. Wasn't too short, wasn't too long. Going to the All Access, the Superstore. I wanted to buy everything off the damn shelf with the quality of stuff they had there. I'm just like, that was excellent. Exactly. Meeting some of our superstars, getting a picture with them. I got to meet Sasha Banks, my favorite, Mercedes Moné. Got to meet my favorite of all time for the women. One of my favorite UFC fighters of all time, Daniel Cormier. That was really cool. And the people that we got to meet there and just walk around was very positive energy, which is really exciting. So overall experience, 39 wipes out 35 by far.
It is amazing. So for both of our WrestleManias, it seems we've been attracted by dickhead fans that are sitting near us. Because WrestleMania 35, we had 3 drunk fucking morons sitting next to us for both night for the night, and for both of our shows, our NXT show as well. And for 39, night 1 wasn't close to as bad as night 2. Night 2, like Sean said, there was just, we can get into it quickly here. They were talking about Dusty and glad that he's dead when Cody Rhodes came out. There was some ridiculous shit. Don't get me wrong. You are, feel free to say whatever the fuck you want. There are limits, and people just do it because they're drunk and they just want to irritate people around them. It is something that, as wrestling fans, we just need to do better at. try not to ruin an experience like this for someone else. So that's what I'll say about it. But it seems like we attract the worst type of fans that are near us.
I was getting a headache.
Yeah,
And I know how.
Me too.
You know, I think out of the three of us, Sean definitely has the worst temper. So there was a few times that I had to look at Sean and be like, "Don't let it ruin your night. It's all good." I would try to talk to him about a match going on, but the kid,
that
it was
would happen
really
to
hard.
anyone.
It was. I'll tell you, Chris. It was very, very difficult. I knew I wasn't going to do a damn thing because I'm like, I'm not getting kicked out of. I'm not wasting my hard-earned money to get kicked out of the venue because a bunch of idiots behind us. So I wasn't going to do a thing. But I'll tell you one thing. I was so irate. I wanted to at least say something like, "Dude, like you need to chill out. There are people around you trying to enjoy the show. I understand you're drunk or whatever, Lord, or dude, calm your man down. Calm your brother down. Whoever he's with him, his homie, brother, whoever it was.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, just talk in normal voice. Or if you're going to say the disrespectful shit about Cody's dad, just say it under your breath or whatever. Just don't yell every 2 seconds. Literally, the main event, every 2 seconds. 90% of the show. Stardust! Stardust! You fucking suck! Dusty! Everything. I'm just like, dude.
And also for context for you listeners,
but
this man also said Edge matches are boring and that the man is overrated and he should have never come back. And he was saying yes.
He's the most overrated worker of all time.
Some people have freezing cold takes, folks. Don't get me wrong. Maybe I've had one or two in my life, but never that cold. Yeah, so we've had some interesting things. If we go to WrestleMania 40 and it happens to us again, we're cursed. So if you're sitting near us at WrestleMania, good luck.
Maybe we have to be the ones yelling from now on.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. No
we have to.
We gotta break the curse ourselves.
I guess.
Oh God. But yeah, WrestleMania Saturday, WrestleMania Night 1 was absolutely incredible, and I agree with both of them. They both said it blows 35 out of the water. I agree. And I agree for the simple fact that to be able to sit there for like 8.5, 9 hours like we did at WrestleMania 35, it's an experience to do that. So I would say even at the Charlotte and Rhea match, when that was over, I was feeling like, okay, I need give me like a 5-second break. And I'm glad they put Pat McAfee there to like get that break for the fans. To be like, okay, I don't have to like lose my shit for this. And they paced it very well. But to have that break in 2 nights, and it gives, I think, a different flavor to each night as well. So, what an incredible show, night 1. Night 2, another great show we will discuss in our next episode. Could it be one of the best WrestleMania main events of all time? I know people are upset with the result, or, you have your own feelings about it. What I will say is the atmosphere itself, incredible, all that stuff. We will talk about it next episode. We'll talk a little bit more about what else we did throughout the weekend as well. We did some odds and end things. We went to WrestleCon. Sean mentioned we met some folks. So we'll kind of go into that as after our Night 2 review tomorrow. And, let us know. Let us know what you think about Night 1. Once we go through this, I think some topics leading up we'll have to redo or do our top 5 WrestleManias and see where this kind of falls. So that's some exciting stuff. We really appreciate you being with us. We did not go live when we were there. Honestly, it is such an experience to just undertake all of that going around that it was honestly just no time. We did run into some cool people. Shout out to My Damn Toys. We did see him. Chris and I are big fig collectors, so it was really cool seeing him. And
Tantalizing Tony.
Yeah.
Tantalizing
exactly.
Tony interviewed me and Jeremy, another YouTuber, so shout out to him.
Yeah, so we met some folks that, we can potentially collaborate with down the line. So some very cool things. But be on the lookout for that. The YouTube stuff is coming still. We're still putting that stuff out from our previous episodes, and we're going to be continuing to do that. And we really we had an amazing weekend. I think we're all still, like I said, a little bit recovering. So maybe tomorrow we'll feel just a little bit more better too, and up in spirits. But we appreciate you all being here, and we'll see you tomorrow. back for another episode 20. We're back into 20 digits. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Follow us on all our socials, MR Wrestling Pod, and you all have a good one.